All right, everybody, this is Mr. Lanky coming to you with some knowledge about PowerPoint, and today we're going to talk about animations, which is how to get the words to move around on the screen and pictures and shapes and all kinds of groovy fun stuff like that. But this time we're going to do it in Google Slides, just in case you do not have PowerPoint. So I've got a Google Slides presentation all ready to go. We're going to go ahead and share the screen. Now, like I was telling people in the other video, what we can use this for is we can use animations to do a lot of different things. One time I had an animation or a teacher who told us that we could only use 5 slides in the presentation to get all of our information across, and I had a lot of information. So what I did was, I'll show you. It's like I had like words on this side and pictures and a picture on this side. And then I would go through all of my points in my presentation, and then I would fade them out and then switch and put the picture on this side and then words on that side. And so I was basically getting 2 slides worth of information by using appearance and disappearance on my slides and pictures. And my teacher had to eat it, and basically they were like, I should have been more specific. But using that kind of stuff can also keep people entertained. It can do some effects sometimes that you might not even have thought of to keep people entertained and stuff like that. And in general can make things, yes, I know, in general can make things more interesting for the people that you have watching it. Okay, so once again, back to the presentation. Okay, and once again, if you have slides, pay attention and watch the presentation. If you have PowerPoint, though, you can watch the other video that uses PowerPoint instead of this presentation, instead of slides. Okay, so on in the book, it basically says we're going to use different types of animations to move stuff around. So let's go ahead and click where it says the power of giving on slide number 1. And you have different kinds of animations already ready to go. Okay, now this is not it. Okay, this is a line drawing tool. Okay, that's not what you want to select. You want to select animations. Okay, and it might be a little bit further along. There we go. Animate. That's the word that you want to see. Okay, you can also insert animation, and both of them will get you to here. Okay, now we're not talking transitions. Okay, so we're not going to be worried about any of that. We're talking about object animations. Okay, now this power of giving right here. Okay, right now it's trying to give me a fade in on click, but let's do something different. Okay, we'll use our drop down menu. Okay, notice that right from the start there is a difference between PowerPoint and slides. You're very limited in some of the things that you can do. For example, the PowerPoint presentation asks you to do a line movement on the thing, and it's like you look at your list of stuff here and you're like, I got no automatic control of these. Okay, you can, however, choose to use something like fade in or fade out, fly in from left, fly in from right, fly in from bottom, fly in from top. Okay. And they also put in this They also put in the ones that are exit effects, flying out to the left, flying out to the right, flying out. Okay, there's top, bottom. Then you got zoom in and zoom out and spin, which is an effect. The 3 things that the PowerPoint presentation has in PowerPoint is a red, a green, and a yellow. So the green one is first. The green one is an entrance effect, they call it. And that's where like something comes into view. The yellow ones are emphasis effect, where it's like, hey, look at me. And the third one, the red ones, are exit effects, where it's like you got words or pictures or whatever, and it goes away. Okay, so they're all basically mushed into this line right here. Okay, so the best thing that comes close to what it was that they were talking about in the book, where it comes from one area and it goes down to the next. You kind of you're gonna have to, you're gonna, like, the effect was to have this box just kind of just whoop, right to this spot right here. Okay, so what you're gonna have to do basically is just not have it start off here. You just have it. You're just gonna have to make it go ahead, and you're gonna have to fly in from the top. Okay, and when you play it, it goes. Boop, in it goes. Okay. Now, the previous one in PowerPoint, like I said, it had an effect where the word was here, and it just moved to here. Okay. But since there is no line effect, there is no motion animation, it's just the ones that are given to you. You're just going to have to basically make it come in from the side of the screen. All right. So that's the first one. The second one, we have our words down here. Okay, we're going to add an animation to these words. We are going to have them fly in from the bottom. Okay, and you can have it, each one of them doing it on click. Okay, and that is by paragraph. If you click on the by paragraph, play it, you will see that when you click on by paragraph, what it really means is by bullet point. And each bullet point comes in individually. Now, that is a difference in PowerPoint. In PowerPoint, if you just click on the box, it naturally does it by paragraph where each individual line is coming up. But in Google Slides, you do have to select it to be coming in one at a time. Okay? All right. Now, go up here to Help the Homeless, add an animation. And this one is going to, let's say the closest thing that was on the same kind of thing is to fade in. Okay. So if this one fades in, we've got the 3, and then we fade in to this thing. Okay, now that didn't quite work out right, did it? Because you have your individual lines, and then you get your title of the slide. That's not how it usually goes. So we're going to have to change the order that these go in. Okay? Now, if you click and hold on the fade in for the title and drag it around, you will see that you can move this up and down the chain. Okay? So you click it and you pull it and you bring the fade in that is on line 1 where it says help the homeless. You bring it above the fly in from the bottom for the bullet point lines. And now you've changed the order that they play in. So now you get the title and then each individual line. Okay? So that is how you change up slides. Because sometimes you're going to have that happen. Sometimes you're going to be working on your PowerPoint. You're going to do one thing and you're going to set it all up. And then you're going to go, oh, brainstorm. I can also do this. But then you click on that and it ends up at the bottom of the list. And then you have to move it up to change the order of it because this is just something that you just animated later. But it has to be something that should happen first. Okay, so let's talk about how to make things happen in a different time frame. First off, this help the homeless. Do we really need to click to get this ball rolling, to get the title going? I think not. So let's change this to with previous. Go to this thing here that says on click and go to with previous. Okay, and when you select with previous, that means that just as soon as the slide pops up, it's going to happen. All right, so let's go to the first slide and we'll present, and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so here comes the slideshow, and to the next slide, see help the homeless pops up immediately. Now, it does require me to click to get the other things to work, but the help the homeless part dropped in on its own by itself, no problems. Okay? All right. So now what we can do with the other part, the flying from the bottom part, we can make these individual lines go after previous. Okay. Now there is a problem. There's a small problem with doing after previous on lines. Okay. What happens is that it immediately starts just as soon as the last one is over. So you don't really have too much time to talk about one before the next one pops through. Yeah. Okay. Yes, moving on. So in a PowerPoint presentation, I could set this up to where you wait a little bit before that second line comes in, and then you wait a little bit before the third line comes in. Okay? But with this one, you kind of run into a little bit of a problem because the after previous wants to happen immediately. Okay? And then you have just the animation speed controller here. And unfortunately, it just kind of doesn't really, it just tells you how fast it's going to come in. It doesn't give you the option to really like delay it to make it to where the next one comes in a little bit later. If you really want to control how fast these come in and give yourself time to talk about the other things, you would just say on click. Now, if the textbook calls for, like if you're doing a homework assignment and the textbook calls for having an after previous and then having a slight delay before it happens, then just go ahead and do after previous and don't worry about the delay part. I'll just give you credit for knowing where the after previous thing is. Okay, so don't worry about that too much. But yeah, if you really wanted to control when these things come out, you want to make sure that they don't pop the next one before you're finished talking about the first sentence, then don't use after previous. You would use on click to have more control over it. So with previous means just at the same time as something happens. After previous means this one goes. As soon as it's done with its animation, the next one goes. As soon as that one's done with its animation, the next one goes. Okay, so once again, Google Slides, a lot fewer options. Okay, now that's changing the order of animations. You can also like see it's got little 6 dots right here. It's got the little icon for moving things. You can move stuff up, down, around, and all kinds of good stuff. Okay. All right. Now, so no timings, no real start and stoppers, and if you really want that kind of control, then just stick with on click and it'll be fine. Okay. There is no animation painter. You know, the PowerPoint itself barely has animation painter, kind of like a format painter in Word. You select something you like, and then you do animation painter, and then you click on something else that you like, and then it basically has the same animations and timings. Okay, that's something that you can do. The next thing talks about objects, pictures, things like that. All of these things can also be animated. Go to slide 3. And go to animate, give me added animation, and let's say that we'll want this one to spin. Spin, spin, spin. Okay? And let's make it go with previous. That way it goes just as soon as the slide pops. So it's like the slide pops up, and wow, spinning effect to make everybody go ooh and ah. Okay? So that's an effect. That is an entrance. That's not an entrance effect. It's an emphasis effect. Basically, it's something that happens while things are going on. Okay, but it's like you see it like it's when it's there. One of the worst things that you can do in a PowerPoint is to have an emphasis effect that makes it jiggle and wiggle, and then do the animation effect to make it show up, because it's going to wiggle and wiggle, and then it's going to disappear, and then it's going to show up again. And then you're like, people get confused about that. And then the focus is on your bad presentation and not the words that you're speaking. Okay, so be careful with that. So objects, charts, diagrams, all good things that can be animated. Okay, you can fade in, fade out, appear and disappear, fly in from the top, fly in from the right. You can do all those things with all of these different types of stuff. Okay, one of the things that I like to do is I like to take objects that you can bring them in, or you could also just have something underneath this one, like, you know, like a little, like give me another little picture right here or some kind of shape or something, you know. Let's get a little heart shape right here. We're going to put the heart shape in. We're going to fill it with some color that actually looks like a heart shape. And then, okay, so what you want to do is for this one, if it's on top, you want to fade it in, but maybe you don't like to see this chart underneath it while it happens. So let's take this, and we can take this object and we can send it back or send backwards. Now it's underneath, okay? And then when you play the animation, it moves it out, and now you can see your thing, okay? So something that I like to do with pictures a lot of the times, I'll have a picture, and then I'll have something underneath it, like another picture or something like that. Come on. Like, I'll get another picture here. Let's see. Okay. I'll have one picture here, and then I'll have this picture. So I'll take this picture and I will make it bigger. Okay. So it's bigger. And then it's like I take this picture, it's like I want to have this words, and then the picture goes away. So I'll add an animation for this picture. Fade out. Okay. And so it's like blah, 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 blah. Every difference you can make, every dollar you can make a difference. Okay. Yay, happy people. All right. And then, like, if there's a second point, you can talk about these happy people. Okay. So a lot of stuff that you can do with these to make them appear, disappear, provide more information, remove information, fun stuff like that. Okay. Now, if you don't like something, you are entitled to not liking things. Maybe this spin just seems silly to you. Okay, let's not do this. Let's just have the picture there. All right. If you don't like it, there's a little garbage can icon. You click it, the animation goes away. The picture stays, but the animation goes away. So now there's no animation when you present. So it's just boop. The picture's already there. It doesn't do anything weird. Okay. All right. So removing animations, very simple. All you do is you just click on the garbage can, and the animation goes away. Okay. So that's that. That is all she wrote in that front. Animations are fun. You can stack animations. You can do a lot of cool stuff with them. Make them wiggle, make them shake, bring in stuff, take out stuff. One of the things I personally like to do is I like like I said, I just have like a stack of pictures, one on top of the other, that correspond to different points in my PowerPoint. And so it's like the first picture that's on the top corresponds to line 1. And then it's like I bring in line 2, but I disappear that picture. And now it's like line 2 with a picture that's about line 2. Bring in line 3, disappear the picture. Now I've got line 3 and a picture that's talking about picture that's talking about line 3. Okay, so you do those, and it's like you can either add pictures on top of them, or you can take pictures away, revealing ones underneath, and then you can have a lot of full screen size pictures. Okay, what I see a lot of, unfortunately, whenever people do these slideshows and stuff like that, I'll tell them, hey, I want to know about your favorite rock bands. Okay, and so what they do is they'll get like 800 pictures, you know, and they'll stack the pictures like this. And they'll all be like really teeny tiny little pictures, and you can't make anything out in them, and there's nothing really to see. And then it's like, oh, what's this? What's this? What's this? Or what you could do is you could make a bunch of pictures that all stack on top of each other. You know, and as you're talking about one, now obviously you don't want them to go on top of the words, so I would move them all over here. Okay, then you would animate each of these pictures. Make them all slightly bigger than the last one was. I mean, you could even make the same size if you really wanted to. But you just take all of these pictures and then like I'm going to put like a 1, and a 2, and then a 3, and a 4, and a 5, and a 6. Okay, and I'm going to add animations. Okay, so it's like the first picture will be there automatically, so I don't really need to add that one. The second picture, I'm going to add an animation where I fade it in on click. Okay, and then the third one, I'm going to add an animation, fade it in on click, and the fourth one, I'm going to fade it in. Fifth one, we fade it in. Oops, that's the same one. Fifth one, we fade in, and then finally the sixth one gets in. Okay, now, so we got donating time and money. We got like we'll do an animation for those. All of these will fade in by paragraph. Come here. We'll fade in by paragraph. Okay, and now the sad part is that if you do this, you can't move them individually. Okay, so they would all go at the same time. So what you would do is you would get one line, animate that one line. Hopefully. I don't know. Nope, looks like it's going to do it the wrong way. Okay, so now we go ahead and stop this animation. So you take these and you just stack them on top of each other. And then it's like each new picture that you have, you know, where you're talking about something. Okay. It's like giving can mean donating your time and expertise, donating money, donating supplies, donating more supplies, and a few more, and perhaps all of them. So you see how you're stacking on the pictures on top of each other, and like all of the new slides are just basically covering the old slides. And so now you have a new picture to look at, and they're all basically full sized. You know, it's like even like the smallest one, even the smallest one out of these is still more or less a full size picture that you can make out the details of pretty good. Okay, so that's the thing that you can do. And yeah, you just kind of have to like move them out of the way a little bit so where you can find all of them, and then use the thing to, you know, you use the slideshow on the thing to make sure that you can get access to each one of them as you click them. And then you just basically maneuver them back onto each other once you've got the slideshow, knowing that you want to animate each one of these pictures. Okay, and then you just stack them on top of each other, and they cover each other as you're talking about one point to the next point to the next point. If you have the ability to make like different lines of things, like you make this line happen once, and then like have picture 1 come up at the same time. Then this line happens, and then have picture 2 and 3 come up at the same time. And then this one happens, and then you have 4, and then 5, and then 6, so that you show all of the pictures. You know, that's how I like to roll, to make like each picture visible. Instead of having it be a tiny little box, make it a visible, wide box that you can actually make out the details of. Okay. So that is pretty much the entirety of lesson 20. Like I said, some things are missing, some things you can approximate. That's how it always is with Google Slides. So hopefully you learned something and you are now more proficient with Google Slides, and you can follow along and do the homework as best as possible. I will of course try and select a homework assignment for you that you can actually do, given that, you know, Google Slides is not exactly the same as PowerPoint is. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for coming by, and we will see you tomorrow.